Hey guys, Andrew here, bringing you another deck profile. This week we thought of trying something a little different, revisiting one of our previous deck profiles, Alcadeias. After playtesting the deck extensively, as you will have seen from our previous match highlight videos, it was struggling to compete with the higher end of decks. And given how iconic Alcadeias is and his game-changing effect, we thought it'd be a shame if we didn't at least have another try at improving the deck. So here's where we ended up last time. So we've got, for our according to our previous deck profile, we've got 3 copies of Alcadeias, 4 copies of Valkyer and Aeris, 4 copies of Emerald Grass, 2 copies of Screaming Sunburst, 2 copies of Rain of Arrows, 2 copies of Diamond Cutter, and 3 copies of Holy Ore and Kolon. And for water, we've got 4 copies of Aqua Surfer, 4 copies of Aqua Hulcus, and then 4 copies of Energy Stream and Eureka Charger. And of course, detailed explanations of our card choices can be found in our previous deck profile, also linked in the description below. Now, this iteration of the deck came across a few problems, which are also true for most Alcadeias decks. Firstly, how can we get out Alcadeias fast and efficiently? Unfortunately, the angel commands, as you can see here, are full of high-cost creatures, with the lowest being Valkyer and Aeris, both of which we do run 4 copies of. So with the type of creatures set in stone, what else can we do? We've approached this by one of 2 ways. So firstly, using blockers such as Emerald Grass and also Valkyer to kind of fend off early and mid-game attackers. And they also combo quite well with Screaming Sunburst to gain control of the board. The second way of dealing with consistency is to include draw cards. So we've got Aqua Hulcus, Energy Stream, and Eureka Charger to enable sufficient card draw to draw into Alcadeias. That also leads us to our first offender and our first change. So we took out 4 Emerald Grass and added in 4 Kelp Candle. We consistently found that Emerald Grass just wasn't really doing anything. Initially, he was in the deck to stop early attackers, but we found the same outcome can be achieved with just about any blocker. And the attack power doesn't actually really matter too much. Now, of course, you will get scenarios where you wish you had Emerald Grass, but in most cases, Kelp Candle does the same job, but with the added benefit of being able to cycle through your deck more efficiently to find your Alcadeias. And of course, with Emerald Grass gone, so does Screaming Sunburst. The 2 work quite well hand in hand. And although you can say you could use it for Valkyer and Aeris, it's just too slow. And often the case, you won't actually have too many creatures for Screaming Sunburst to be effective. So he's out. One other important point to note is that by reducing the number of light cards and adding a few more water cards, we have more of a balance between the 2 civs, which makes drawing into the right civ for mana less of an issue. The other method of getting Alcadeias consistently is to run draw cards, as I mentioned before, hence our Kelp Candle. We also initially thought that Eureka Charger might be a good fit for its ability to both accelerate mana and also curve into Alcadeias. But in reality, this is a flawed concept, given that the pre-evolutions of Alcadeias are both at 5 mana, playing Eureka Charger on 4 doesn't actually make a lot of sense. Because in a way, when you play Eureka Charger on 4 and then play Valkyer or Aeris on 5, you're essentially wasting a mana. And also, Eureka Charger isn't too good to run as a standalone. You do have to combo it with cards such as Essence Elf. So instead of Eureka Charger, we're going to play 4 copies of Emergency Typhoon, which allows you to again cycle your deck a lot faster. To finish off our changes, we've added a 4th copy of Kolon the Oracle and a 4th copy of Holy Ore. We've come to realize that this deck shouldn't really be played as a control deck, as it lacks both destruction and discard, but rather a mid-range deck aiming to rely on the effect of Alcadeias to render your opponent's deck unusable. So both Kolon and Holy Ore are in here to keep ourselves alive while we break shields with Alcadeias. And given that we added cards such as Kelp Candle and Emergency Typhoon, adding a few more additional cards is necessary so that we don't deck out too soon. Now for the ongoing problems. Even though the changes we've made does help with overall consistency, the deck still has troubles dealing with efficient removal cards like Aqua Surfer, Natural Snare, and of course the most devastating card, Kolon. And this is especially true in the mid game when you spend all your mana on dropping a Valkyer or Aeris only for it to get removed by Kolon. It's really frustrating. And we are really having a hard time trying to come up with a way to combat this. It may be one of those take it and leave it scenarios, as you can't tailor your deck to counter all matchups. But maybe you guys have some ideas. Please let us know in the comments below. Anyway, I think that does it for this week. Hope you guys will give the new changes a try, and do let us know what your Alcadeias deck list looks like. This is Andrew, and you're watching The Gauntlet.